Hey friend, it's me Vasco with a quick announcement. We at the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast are organizing this year's Scrum Master Summit. For tickets and details on the summit, check out the URL bit.ly/SM Summit 22. All one word, SMSUMMIT 22. And now, on to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Team Tuesday this week with Luis Carvalho. Hi, Luis. Welcome back.
Hi, Vasco. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So, Luis, on Tuesdays, we talk about teams and how sometimes they are their own worst enemies. We'll dive into that in a minute, though, because first we want to know, what's the book that most influenced you in your career as a Scrum Master?
Actually, I'd like to highlight a book which I'm finishing right now. So it's Simon Sinek's The Infinite Game. So I saw a talk about it. I thought it was very, very interesting. I got the book and I'm finishing right now. And there's a lot of things that resonate with me, with product development, and particularly with agile coaching and Scrum Mastery. So Simon talks about the differences between a finite mindset and an infinite mindset, and how business is an infinite mindset in the sense that there are no rules. There's not a fixed set or fixed score on how to win. Basically, you play with it to be alive, so to say. You play with it to continue to play, right? And with that, it encompasses a different mindset, a different set of practices, and a big focus on value, a big focus on mission, and a big focus on, your impact in the overall society. There was one particular sentence in there that I think it's really, really nice. They talk about building an organization that can survive its leaders, right? So these are organizations which are multi-generational, right? It's not about you, it's not about one person, it's not about one CEO, but it's about the organization, its culture, and its vision. And I think as Scrum Masters, as Agile coaches, this is extremely, extremely important, right? Because what you're trying to do, and you say you coach the person, you don't coach the problem, right? What you're trying to do is you're trying to establish a culture of feedback, a culture of psychological safety, a culture of continuous improvement, a culture of inspection. Either you are there taking care of it, either you leave, either you work in Department A or Department B or Department C. Right, you're trying to instill this thing that outlives you as a Scrum Master, an Agile coach, or even the leadership, so to say. Right, so it's about the ways of working, the mindset. If you do a good job as a Scrum Master, typically as a group, it's very difficult to do this by yourself. But as a group, then I think you're doing a very good job.
I really love the aspect of thinking of a team as an infinite entity in the sense that he talks about organizations, right? And that leads me to the question that I think we should ask ourselves in a moment of reflection as Scrum Masters, which is, what is the culture we want to leave behind?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Right. And of course that will influence how we handle our communication with the teams, with the stakeholders, how we talk about problems, how much feedback and what kind of feedback we try to elicit, and so on and so forth. Great recommendation. Thank you for that, Luis.
Thank you.
Now we turn our attention to the focus of our work when it comes to creating culture, of course, which is working with teams. And we want to talk about a team and how, over time they develop these small behaviors or patterns that eventually led to problems. So, Luis, walk us through that story.
I would actually take the opportunity to combine, I think, two antipatterns to say. This wasn't a team that I actually worked directly with, but I had quite a lot of interactions with them. So the two antipatterns are the superhero team and a team with no purpose, basically. So this happened also in kind of a scaling time that we were doing in our product. So we had already a product delivery set up. We had already a product in the market, but we wanted to scale, and we were kind of opening up a branch in another location. And we were using a spin-off of our organization. And in this spin-off, they actually had, very good people, very knowledgeable people, very mature in ways of working, very capable and very, very dedicated people. And that's kind of also how they were sold in a good way to us. That's how they were positioned, mostly actually by their management, in a sense, right? So there was a kind of an encouragement internally, so from their management to their people, I think, to give them kind of a confidence boost, and you guys are good, and we're rock stars, and we're going to make it, but also into the rest of the organization, because I guess, okay, they wanted to get into interesting things and get a lot of product development in there. Nevertheless, so to say, the hiring and the people onboarding was faster than the reorganization of our product delivery structure. So there was a point in time that I'm not going to say that they were idle, but we didn't really have a fixed structure to say, you guys are going to be this functional unit responsible for this, you guys are going to be this, etc., etc. But we did have teams formed, and it wasn't that there was work to do. There was still work to do, and I was quite happy, and I actually had suggested, okay, let them pick up a couple of things which are not so time critical, and this will be part of their onboarding. They will build that, they will get to know the product, they will get to know our ways of working, and then once we have this structure, it will be done. But their management wasn't too happy with that, because they thought it was beneath them, because here we have rock stars, so they're not just going to pick up things to help the other teams, they need to have bigger things. But also, they didn't really want anything blocker or critical that could cause them to be kind of a showstopper. So basically, what they got them to do was to look around into what other teams were doing, into pipelines, into code, into GitHub, and things like that, with very, very little context, because this was done outside of the organization. And they basically started telling teams what they were doing wrong.
Uh-oh. That's never a good way to start a relationship, right? You're a new team, you come into a new organization, and immediately you start judging everybody.
Exactly. And again, with very little context, right? So if this would have been aligned, so to say, so look, these guys are starting up, they're onboarding, we don't want to give them now new things to build, but maybe they can help us, right? Because there's always depth that teams have in the ways that they want to work. Maybe they can help. If this has been done collaboratively with, I don't know, interviews, what are your pain points? Okay, we have this thing, we don't know how to, I don't know, mock this particular thing. Okay, we're going to go and find out for yourselves. But that was not what happened, right? Because they placed themselves, or more their management kind of placed themselves as the rock stars. Like, you guys are dinosaurs, these guys are the new generation. So, and they had a look around, and this is your problem, right? And you're going to fix it. Thank you very much. Or you're welcome, actually. And
you suck. You're welcome.
You suck. Yes. which was not true. So, of course, because they were part of a spin-up, they were much more agile as an organization. But from an engineering side, from the development side, I mean, we had very good developers, we had very good engineers, we had very good architects, right? And we had quite a successful product out there, right? So we have built this. So this was a very bad way, again, as mentioned, to start a relationship and to scale up, so to say. So there was started always a bit of friction between the two entities and between the teams.
And I think that friction here is a great way to describe it. And if we think about it timeline-wise, right, like the friction started with the first contact. We start to see how it's so difficult to then move on from there, because when the relationship starts with a conflict, it's very hard to move it back to a collaborative type of relationship, right? And as you were telling the story, I thought about this, perhaps an anti-pattern that is common in engineering organizations, and I've seen it before, so I can relate to that, which is that whenever a new team is brought in, whether it's from a consultancy company or a spin-off like in your case, or just some kind of special projects team within the same organization, and they are brought in and they immediately start from the perspective that we are better, then it's very hard to create a collaborative relationship where teams help each other, because I'm already being set up in that conversation. I'm already being set up as the judge, right? Like as a team, I come in and I focus on the technical aspects and I judge the other teams on the technical aspects. And that just brought to my mind the fact that we as Scrum Masters should really make a huge effort in try to start the relationship from the personal aspects, from what do we share? What do we have in common? How can we help each other? Rather than how can I judge you and how can I make you better?
Yes, absolutely. And I think had it started more collaboratively, or even with mixing teams and things like that. So we had two things. We wanted to take advantage of these people while the organization reshift didn't happen, and we wanted to onboard them, right? Because they still had a learning curve. And had we done something like that, or even distributed, okay, now you go to this team and you go and help them out, right? But within the context of the team and within the context of the people, it would have been much better.
And of course, working with the stakeholders and the Scrum Masters of those teams to make sure that the relationship would start from a productive perspective on a personal side, right? Because if you have a good personal relationship, you can overcome technical conflict. But if you have no personal relationship, it is very hard to handle the technical conflicts.
Yeah, I mean, we're all people, so even though sometimes you think, okay, I don't know, it's either not personal, or think of the big picture, or emotions, etc. It's more than normal that we all have triggers, right? And particular developers, they're very passionate about their craft, right? That's their thing. So when you tell them that their craft is not good, is sacrilege, right? It's like picking a puppy.
It's
you
a
don't
very
do it.
bad way to start a relationship,
Yes.
indeed. Well, but this was a great story and with a lot of insight. So thank you for sharing that with us, Luis.
Thank you, Vasco.
Hey friends, it's Vasco again, now with a bit longer announcement. I'm part of the team that is behind the Global Scrum Master Summit, the conference dedicated to the Scrum Master role. If you're a Scrum Master, the Scrum Master Summit is a place to learn, to share, and of course to meet new friends. We will have lots of live sessions where you can meet and network with other Scrum Masters from the whole globe. So make sure you check it at bit.ly/SM Summit 22. We have several amazing keynotes and 7 tracks that feature people like you and of course thought leaders sharing their insights, their knowledge, and helping you become an awesome Scrum Master. You can check out all of the details of the summit, including the keynotes announced, the track chairs, and much more at bit.ly/SM Summit 22. That's all one word. That's bit.ly/SM SUMMIT and the numeral 22. I'll see you on the conference floor.